What is going on, everyone? It is Minato here, and we're back with some more Dokkan battle. So we're going to start off doing a new series on the channel, and that is essentially showing you different team builds for all the 200% leaders that are currently in the game. From the 7th anniversary all the way to present day, we will be updating these teams and showing you the best possible options to tackle the most difficult content in the game. Now, I'll be doing 4 team builds for each team that I show in this series, based around 4 difficult content stages that I feel like are the pinnacle of difficulties currently that we have. That would be against the movie Red Zone versus Broly, the GT Red Zone against Omega Shenron, the Wicked Bloodline Red Zone against the Cooler Core stage, and then the Cell Max boss events. Those are the 4 hardest stages I feel most of the community do agree would give people the most difficulty, and if you're able to beat those stages, I feel you can definitely clear the rest of the game pretty easily, because those stages I feel like are just kind of a step above the rest. So basically, we're going to go over the team builds I feel like are the best options for those specific stages, any substitute options you can use in case you may not have certain units, and of course, if you guys have any questions, you can leave this in the comments below and let me know, if there's, any other substitutes you feel that may be worthy recognition and stuff like that, and I will keep you guys updated, maybe even have an updated message myself in the comments, letting you know if I change my mind on anything from hearing what you guys have to say, because that is very, very important in my opinion as well. Now, after I cover all the existing 200% leaders in the game, we will be basically doing a separate video for each new 200% leader that comes out, and at the end of each month, if I feel like there are certain teams that have gone buffed so many times or gotten a significant addition to their team that I feel like kind of changes what would be covered in their initial video, I will definitely be doing update videos. Like, let's say we get a lot of GT Heroes units and the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta team is just way different than I'm going to cover in my initial video. We will definitely do an update to that. Movie Heroes even gets a lot of buffs. We'll see, but let's hop right into it. And again, let me know if you guys enjoy the content, if you think there's any changes I should make to this. And let's start off with the first team. Alright, so the first team we have here today is the LR Super Saiyan God Goku and Vegeta from the 7th anniversary on both Global and GP. This unit does lead the Beyond Super Saiyan and Movie Heroes categories for 170% and 3 key to stats. If the units on that leader score are also on the Kamehameha category team, they do gain an additional 30%, which of course makes that a 200% leader skill. A very vast leader skill with a lot of very good options. I think this is a really strong unit to start off with, and I feel like a lot of people really like this team. You could argue this team as definitely one of the best teams in the game. So just to give my thoughts on this and kind of set a general precedent of how these videos are going to look like for the future, I think it's a really good idea to start here. By the way, their art is still amazing to this day, so just talk about these guys a little. They definitely are just basically units you stack up over time, and once you need to transform with them, or if you feel comfortable, it depends, right? You could do it on turn 4, but whenever you transform with them, that's when they really boost in power. They get guaranteed additional super attacks, the nullification effect, and on top of that, they have an active skill that just does so much damage. They're a pretty crazy unit and a really strong leader, I feel, especially if you're trying to build around Saiyan units. So we're going to kind of build this kind of team around Saiyans, because that's really the best way to run this team with the gods as a leader. So if we take a look out here, this is going to be firstly the team that I use against Red Zone Broly. On the side of my screen post editing, I should have a clear that I did against this team. I actually got very close to know how to run, but this is the team I used to beat the Broly event. And just talking about the option I did bring here, I think a lot of people know how good this guy is, but if you're unaware, this guy does have 77% damage reduction if he's facing a pure Saiyan or movie bosses category enemy. It can be either or. Of course, this Broly fight is a movie bosses category and a pure Saiyan category enemy, so either way, he would allow this God Goku to get 77% damage reduction. On top of that, this God Goku being a tech unit means he has tap advantage in the final phase. And even just in any other phase, he's just invincible to damage. This guy is not going to be the reason you die at all. He creates rainbow key spheres, which is very helpful for the LR Super Saiyan gods. Once they transform, they would prefer to get rainbow key spheres. In terms of their damage, I feel that would be very useful for them. And on top of that, he does, of course, share a good amount of links with the LR Super Saiyan gods. So overall, this guy is like their best friend in many situations, and especially here, he could be very helpful. In the first phase as well, the Broly STR phase can be sealed, so that will allow you to avoid taking early on damage if possible. And you could really actually build up your units a lot more safely. Like, let's say a unit on this team is Tech Count Caulifla. If they get hit with the super early on, that could be a little dangerous. So this guy's sealing can definitely help you out there. Very strong unit. Definitely one of the best units in the game for this event. I mean, just to take a look here, here's my equips, full level 10 links for them. If you're just interested, here's my build. I guess I could show off the gods too as well since we're here. Of course, I have 24 additional. Here's my equips for them, full level 10 links and stuff like that, just so you guys can get an idea of how I'm building the units here. So next, I think I did put on Tech Gogeta here. The real reason you use Tech Gogeta is because of his Scouter effect. So if you're unaware what the Scouter is, that is the ability to see where the enemy's super attacks are. And I'm sure many of you know the super attacks are likely going to be the reason you do die because of how hard the super attacks hit. The Broly at the end can hit you with 2 super attacks for 1.2 million damage, which is definitely a lot of damage to take. So being able to see where the super attack is very important. And even for the AoE phase, the third phase of course does have an attack all your units super attack. So even units that may need to attack to get their defense, like the LR gods, if Broly supers before you're able to do that, that could do lots of damage. So you definitely want to double weasel in that phase. But if you can see with the Scouter where his super attack is, or you know, let's say there's no super attack at all, even it could potentially save you items and allow you to do best plays in order to get it. Even possibly nullify with the LR God's 18 key super attack effect, the super attack. That could be really powerful. This guy also has tap advantage at the end. He could do solid damage. And overall, I think he's going to be a really good option against this Broly fight. We have Carnival Goku, just a stacking, guarding unit. He has the revive ability and can do pretty solid damage. He's just, again, a tech unit, so he's just going to be very good here. And I guess him being tech doesn't necessarily matter because he guards and, you know, stacks anyway, so that doesn't really matter. He's just going to be another very strong slot 1 option to use with the LR gods. Keep in mind the LR gods would like to be in slot 2, so I mean, just basically even looking from here, the rotations you want to run are LR gods plus the tech god Goku, and then the LR gods plus the Carnival Goku on 1 rotation, and then the rest of it will be what's considered your floaters units in the 3rd slot, which would be Tech Vegeta, this Piccolo, and Count Caulifla. This guy is just going to be very helpful, and he also does have a nullification ability on his active skill. A very strong unit. STR Piccolo, another recent unit like that Carnival Goku. However, this dude is available on every banner. He's a very strong support unit for the Movie Heroes team. If there's a full Movie Heroes category, like lineup on the rotation, you do get 30% damage reduction with him. He's already guarding. He has some pretty solid defense. He could seal for the first phase again, which is very helpful, like I stated, with Tech God Goku. And he is supporting, again, like I said, 2 key and then 30% attack and defense through rotation against this Broly fight because he is facing an extreme class enemy. So this Piccolo all around is just going to be extremely tanky. Even though he's technically an STR unit, the guard and damage reduction will allow him to take very little damage, even from the final phase against AoE Broly. One of the best floating units in the game, I feel, as a support, and you just have to make sure he would like his full passive up before he gets hit with like a super. Even then, it wouldn't be that much of an issue for him. My cord came undone, so let me fix that real quick. And that's basically it for this Piccolo, just in a gist. He's just going to be a really strong option. This Tech Count Caulifla, I feel like, is also very good, like 5th, 6th option on the team. They're not really going to be the unit that's like doing all the damage or tanking. That's why you have the Scouter to hide them. The big reason you want to use them is because once they're from turn 6, They do have a heal. They could transform into Kefla, and they heal 60% HP. That's going to be very, very massive, especially since on this team against Broly, you would like to use a double Whis, preferably to get through that AoE phase. So having a unit that can heal you, while you don't have, let's say, maybe even Sensu Beans or an Android 8 or like an item that can actually recover your HP. It's going to be very important for you to have a healing in your back pocket, especially because of this guy. I actually should have touched on this, but transforming into Super Gogeta has to be turn 4 and above 70% HP, which, you know, these bosses hit you so hard, it's likely you may not be able to reach that condition sometimes. So at the very least, later on in the fight, you could fuse with these guys, and then you could stay above that HP threshold, maybe if you have the Whis active, and with that, you'll be able to fuse and get the Scouter, which will be very, very important for you. On top of that, they just have really good Saiyan links as well. Basically the same with the rest of these casts except for Piccolo, right? And they do stack defense, so at the very least, even if they do get hit with a super at the end, they will be able to at least live, which is going to be a very important thing for you. They can do solid damage if you get them the orbs out they are needed as well. Won't be that difficult with the rainbow orb changing we have from these two right here. So overall, that would probably be the ideal team, one of the easier teams you can run to beat this event here. Now, of course, you want to go type advantage as much as possible, so I will not really be focusing on any other typings but AGL and Tech, because the last two phases, which are the hardest ones, are S-tier Broly and then the AGL Broly. So you basically want to go there too. So that's why I'm going to focus on only these two typings. There are other units and other typings you can use as well that could be strong enough. But I think if you really want to beat this event, especially like a free dupe level kind of units, you definitely want to go type advantage as much as possible. So some alternative options you have. LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, very strong offensive unit. He could definitely get you through the AoE phase very quickly, especially if you pop his active skill. This guy could do a lot of damage. This unit, Blue Evolution Vegeta, he can also do some pretty solid damage. Given he gets multiple super attacks or even transforms, he can be very well against normal attacks. Similar with him and the Goku though, if they get hit with a super attack in the final phase without an item up, they could definitely die. So that's why they're not like, on the best team ever, right? You could probably run this guy. He can get the job done more or less. You just need to protect him at the end. Pycon is also a very good option. You could even debate he's probably better to run on this team than like say Kel and Caulifla. This guy's also a support unit. It's just that he can't dodge here, so I'm not really that big of a fan to run him. But he has this ability from turn 4, as long as the enemy HP is 50% or above, he can use what's called a Ghost Usher, and that will allow you to delay all enemy attacks in the rotation by 1 turn. So essentially on that rotation with him, you just are not going to get hit at all. That could be very, very impactful for just literally any stage in the game that can reach that far into the event. This guy, again, also supporting as well. He could be a pretty nice option. Type advantage against the AoE phase will also be nice as well, right? If you have the Dokkan Piskadu Goku and do run him here, you can run this Eijo Hachan as a rotation with them. That could be quite a strong option. But I feel like that probably wouldn't fit the best for this team. You may prefer to rather just run the LR Gods in rotation since they have type advantage, right? At the very least, I'll bring them up as an option, but that's pretty much it for AGL specifically. No, I mean, you could run the Gamma, but again, on this team specifically with the LR Gods lead, probably not. Oh, these guys could be a good option as well, right? You could technically run them as a Movie Heroes lead yourself, but I think, with their incredible link set that they have, they could do a lot of damage because the AoE phase. You just have to make sure you get the morale boost active and they'll be good to go. Obviously, Tech will have a lot more options. Tech Vegeta Blue is easy A. He's not on the global version yet, but he can do a lot of damage, and I've seen him like wipe out half or even more of Broly's health bar at the end, given you're able to get him his stacks and build him up. Could be a very, very impressive unit there. I guess not really this Tech Vegeta. I was going to say maybe, but not really. I mean, everyone else who kind of has aged out, I feel like, at this point. So that's pretty much all I would say. Again, there could potentially be other options, the other typings, right? Probably filter out STR, right? Like, in Broly, I think could be a really good option here because he has his type, he has his damage reduction, right? Once he attacks, he gets 36% damage reduction against pure Saiyan enemies. So obviously that's going to be helpful against this Broly, especially if you have him up. This unit is going to be good regardless. This unit will be good regardless as well, right? But that's pretty much all my recommendations for the Broly fight specifically. And yeah, we're already 14 minutes in, but don't worry, since I already explained a lot of what these units do, we're not gonna have to like go into as depth as previously. So this next few sections should be pretty quick. Next, we have the Gods versus Omega team, and this team definitely, I feel like you wouldn't usually run the LR Gods there unless you have no choice, but I think they're powerful enough to beat that event anyway, so I will just cover it at least for this video here. I mean, we have just basically, you know, units that will have type advantage. You want to run physical and then angel units preferably, or at least units that have a guard ability or something like that can dodge. These guys can dodge right when they're transformed, so I think they could be an interesting like floating unit to be using around here. Pycon supporting, he can actually dodge here, Ghost Usher to delay the Omega Shenron countdown at the end, which his countdown super attack can be very devastating. This unit could also like basically just counter the countdown super attack, and they're just going to be probably, you know, doing the most damage on the team because there's the physical Omega phase. This unit right here is going to be really good linking with the physical Super Saiyan 4s. His active skill against the STR phase will do much damage as well. His revive could be very, very powerful here, and then this Blue Evolution Vegeta, just good for the STR phase. I feel like you could argue the STR phase is more nasty. The reason why I would say the STR phase is probably harder than the even int phase at the end, even though the int phase hits harder, you know where the super attack is going to be. So especially if you have like the Pycon Ghost Usher and the items up, you will probably have a easier time in handling that. So I mean, if we just take a look here at, you know, the different options you can run, again, many of the same options here. The LR Super Saiyans I think can be good. Keep in mind, you can debuff and seal the first fight, so any units that lower attack like them, AGL Pycon lower attacks and seals, could be very helpful because the first boss can debuff you as well in a super attack. So if you're able to take care of that, you could really minimize the damage you'll take personally. Jacko could be a really good option because he does have this 70% dodge chance in slot 1. He could stun the enemy in a super attack effect, so he could be a quite interesting option, at least if you're on the JP version. And from there, we'll move on to the physical units, because of course there's a lot of physical phases in this fight. Kid Goku, if you have Android A and Kid Goku together, they could be a pretty powerful option, right? The AGL Android A on JP, because Kid Goku does have Rainbow Orb changing, he does lower attack. Android 8 also, you know, this is a very strong tank as well, so that could be very, very helpful if they're on rotation together. This unit could be pretty interesting, right? I believe this unit does seal, and they have a 70% chance to dodge for the first few turns. This guy has a mid-turn heal and can guard, physical typing, so he could be a pretty interesting option as well. Physical Super Saiyan 3 Goku, he could do a lot of quick damage. He could be, you might have to hide him a little, especially if you get bad RNG, but in the first phase he could actually stun Omega, and then he'll just melt the STR and in phases at the end. If you get all those crits and additional super attacks with him, things can get very nasty very quick with this guy. Physical Gogeta, he does have the mid-turn heal as well by fusing into Super Gogeta, and he could be a pretty powerful asset in that regard, just because that heal 100% is quite crazy. But yeah, those are the main units I would say you can use. Again, other units that are on the team just in general, like, you know, Gamma 1 and 2, you have STR Piccolo like I talked about before, you know, actually not Tech God Goku, because this is not a movie bosses or pures same category anime, since this is Omega Shenron, right? You want to avoid tech units, right? GT Vegeta could be interesting, right? But not many units here other than those ones I listed. I feel like you would go out of your way to use. Maybe this guy, just because of his linkage with just Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, but that would be the Omega portion here. And next we'll move on to right here. So this would be the LR Gods versus Cooler Core. So this event does have a physical phase and an int phase. The first int phase is nothing really to worry about, but it can be devastating a little bit if you get the wrong unit super attack. So you would kind of actually want to move away from certain tech units unless they like maybe lower attack or something. The physical phase, you definitely want to try and get some STR units in here. Very, very important, but this is the team I brought here. Obviously, God Goku with his 77% reduction, Q-Orb changing, and etc. STR Piccolo does have, again, the damage reduction and his type advantage at the end. This unit I found could be actually really good here. Again, I spoke about this earlier, but their 18 key super attack greatly lowers attack and defense, which could be quite strong. And they are a pretty solid unit early on at the very least because of their damage reduction there. So I think they could be a pretty nice asset to this specific phase and fight. You just want to try and make sure you get the morale boost, but if using like double Whis or something, or like, you know, one Whis, even this unit can have their damage reduction up and could actually be pretty solid tanking wise, right? S tier Vegeta Blue, he does a lower attack on his 12 key, he stacks defense, tap advantage at the end, he links pretty well with the gods. This unit doesn't have his EZA fully done on global yet, but that'll be very soon, so I feel like this guy definitely could be a really strong option actually to use here on the gods team. Obviously, Carnivore Goku, again, revive, guarding, stacking, just very basic, but very, very good in terms of survivability. If you get caught, he can really help save you and just literally avoid you from dying, so that can be really powerful. Now again, we'll take a look at specifically physical and STR, because those are the units you're going to want to run here. Gamma 1 does have the nullification, not the nullification, the counter against the first phase, which he can double super you, and it's a physical type of attack, so this guy could actually counter that, and that could be really, really helpful for you. LR Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, if you're running like LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta as well, this guy could be quite a really strong option, I feel. I mean, yeah, if we take a look there down, I guess STR is not really that strong for this specific fight, I'd say, or on the movie Heroes Beyond Super Saiyan team at the very least. I mean, you can maybe get away with this guy with the fusion. I wouldn't really recommend it. This unit again is going to be strong. They can counter the super attacks, not even in only the int phase but the physical phase as well, because he hits very, very hard. With their damage reduction, could be solidly tanky. Physical Kid Goku, again, he can support the damage reduction, orb change. You probably, like, if you use him with Android 8, he can also lower attack in the first phase, but he just does not want to take a super attack. He doesn't really have, like, at least built into his K, he doesn't have the options to take a super attack from certain red zone bosses at the end. This unit could be solid, again, just because they're heal and the dodging, right? A little risky, because if they do get hit, they'll get obliterated, but it could be an interesting option there. And again, like always, there's this other units and other typings you could potentially use, but I wouldn't go out of my way to recommend them necessarily because, you know, maybe they have type of disadvantage like int units. No way you're going to run them here. So that's pretty much it for the cooler core section. And then finally we have the LR Gods team against the Cell Max boss event. This one's kind of different. This team I did beat. Well, I beat it with this team a while ago specifically. We all know why certain units are good here, so I will focus on the two new units that are in here. Resurrection at Blue Duos, not on global yet, but the thing about them is Vegeta. Once you get into Vegeta, he could do some pretty solid damage. But the real important thing is that I found he's able to survive super attacks from Cell Max. You do want to make sure you get him his 3 rainbow key spheres, because he does at the very least make his key spheres for himself, but maybe Tech God Goku can provide that. As long as you're able to get that, he could be quite a solid option here. And it's just really him being in type. He could be, you know, just very useful, at least even damage wise, because he also has built-in crits. So I think this unit is actually a pretty nice unit for this specific team against that event. Blue Evolution Vegeta being an in type and having a revive skill will allow you to take advantage of that really, really well. And at the very least, he could do some pretty solid damage. Now, a super attack would probably still kill him like many units unless he has like his damage reduction build up, but I don't know. This unit is more so just going to be someone you use for the revive mechanic. Again, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, stacking, counter, active skill damage. Same thing with this unit. Pycon for the Ghost Usher could be really, really good here. And if we take a look at just preferably int units, the other phases don't really matter. I think this unit could work out pretty well here with this counter and having type advantage. This unit could be a pretty good floater with the rainbow orb changing, could be very, very helpful for you. And Broly, I've seen people use him on this team to beat the event. He doesn't want to get hit, that as like, you want to try and avoid him getting hit as much as possible, or maybe taking a super attack, but at the very least as a floating option, he may be pretty solid for you overall. And I mean, I can say Tech God Goku again, just his damage reduction against movie bosses will just be very important in many of these difficult content runs. And I guess in general, we could just look here again, Kid Goku, Hachan, the two Gammas if we really want to run them. I wouldn't like go out of my raid and run them on this specific type of the movie hero team though, because again, it's really based around like prepared for battle for the most part. And a unit obviously that I think you would probably even run over this guy is just this guy, because he's just a better version for what that Blue Evolution's role is going to do, which is going to be like kind of tanking. You know, this guy will stack instead. He has active skill, damage, and then on top of that, he has a much, I think, better revive condition. He'll just be a lot more consistent for you, but the team I beat it with was with that Blue Evolution Vegeta, so that's why I had the team built like the way it was. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really run. I mean, you could get away with this guy, I guess, or this guy, but they're not like, you know, going to be the best option. Just other extra sub options you could use. That's pretty much all I would say. So, I mean, again, maybe this unit you can get away with, but that's an okay unit you can get away with. I've used him before in the event. He could be pretty solid, but that is it for the LR Gods team, specifically against the 4 fights. Let me know what you guys have used, maybe even a unit that I haven't brought up that you guys were able to clear successfully. I try to be as broad as possible, at least with the options, just so that in case you're on global or even just a free-to-play player, I know a lot of you guys may not have the correct options. I think even with some of the mismatched teams, you could be able to beat it as long as you're, you know, this guy could really carry you, and Tech God Goku is going to carry you. I think he's essential. But other than those two, giving you mix max units and you're using items, of course, this is with items in consideration, you will be able to do pretty well against these events. So let me know what you guys think if you liked the video. If you, of course, I'll be doing more of these, but if you think there's anything that I should change or update to these, let me know. I would really appreciate your guys' feedback. Something fun I want to try out. Thank y'all for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace out.